if you're new here, my name is Zim and I'm a travel photographer slash videographer. Now, the one question I get asked all the time is how do I get my videos and photos to look crisp and clear using just my mobile phone? So for the first time ever, I'm going to be giving you all the secrets to doing this yourself. So buckle in for this one. I've broken this video into 3 parts, which will be the phone I use, so the phone settings, the gear I use, and the filming plan. Let's start with phone settings. These are my current phone settings and I'm going to run you through most of them. Always start off with most compatible as opposed to high efficiency, because most compatible means it saves your videos in the highest resolution possible, which allows you to edit easier and saves most of the raw footage. Next is 4K at 30. Now I know some people say that 4K at 24, but I just prefer 4K at 30 because it gives you a much more cinematic look to your videos as opposed to the 4K 24, which sometimes looks a bit choppy. Next is locking in your white balance. Now you have to lock in your white balance because when you shoot with the iPhone, most times the iPhone overcompensates in certain light. So locking this white balance means you get to preserve the photo in the best lighting possible. The last is my favorite of all, which is the grid. The grid on an iPhone camera serves as a helpful tool for composing your photos. It divides the camera frame into 9 equal sections, following basically the rule of thirds, which is a basic principle of photography. It helps you also align various elements in your photos to create a more balanced and visually appealing composition. I'll get into more details on the rule of thirds in subsequent videos, but it's very important to understand the rule of thirds when it comes to framing your videos, because then once you understand the rule of thirds, you can sort of understand how symmetry works in photos and videos. Okay, now that we're done with the phone settings, let's move on to all the gear I use when shooting. I'm going to start off with the tripod. The importance of using a tripod when you travel, especially if you're a solo traveler, is because you can't always get people to shoot you, so you need to be able to shoot yourself. A proper tripod is very important for your travel photography. Now I have 2 tripods. I have this one I got off Amazon and I have the one I'm currently shooting on, which I got on AliExpress. I will link all of them below for those who want to buy it. But I really like this one. So I recently got this on my lap just before my last trip and I used it and it was just amazing. It's really small, so it goes really small. I'm not sure what's going on with it right now, but it goes really small. And then the best part is sort of extends to 60 inches. Let me see if I can extend it for you. So it goes all the way. Not sure what's going on, it's trying to disgrace me. But yes, it goes all the way to 60 inches, which is really good. Especially if you want to get certain shots, it's really, really good for it. It costs $25, so it's really affordable. And yeah, it does what it does. The only problem I have with this tripod is the fact that it doesn't do well in windy conditions and it also doesn't do really well on uneven surfaces. So bear that in mind. But for every other shooting you do, you're gonna love this. My second favorite is the one I'm currently shooting on, which I can't show you unfortunately. I'll link it as well. I like this because it's sturdier. It's slightly bigger than this one, but it's much sturdier. Does a fantastic job on uneven surfaces. It has a grip on the bottom, so even when you put it on really uneven surfaces, it just grips, which I really like. So let's talk lighting. Now, I never used to be a fan of lights because I just thought they were embarrassing. Don't ask me why. But I've come to see just how important lighting can be in your videos and your photos. Take an example of this video where I shot in the pool. This is what it looked like without no lights. Still beautiful, but you can't really see me. You can see the background. Now look at the same video with lights. It's like night and day. This is just the importance of lighting. This is the light I typically use, which I got from AliExpress. You can also get it on Amazon, but yeah, I got this. I really like this light. It's like that bright. See? It has different settings. It has a cool, it has a much more cooler, and it has the coolest. This is typically the one I like. I'm not sure why. Or I just go a medium between the white and the yellow. I really like this light. And it has an attachment thing which you can sort of attach to your phone to shoot all your selfies. And you just tilt and that's it. So get this one. I think it was $20, $30, I'm not sure, but yeah, really good light, makes such a difference, especially when you're shooting in the dark. Love it. Very important. Like I don't go anywhere without this anymore. Next is the gym pool. Now I'm gonna show you this, but then I'm also gonna tell you something. So yeah, so I got this I think over a year ago, and I love it. There's smaller ones out now, so you don't have to get this one. But I like this one for what it is, because I can sort of attach it to my tripod and then just put my phone in here, and it just does the work of what I wanted to do. So this is how you put in the batteries. You just twist, you pull, and you have the batteries in there. Because I liked it so much, I never got the smaller ones. But if I was to advise you, I would advise you to get the smaller ones, just because of ease of movement. Like when you travel alone, you want everything to sort of be compact, as small as possible, without having too much, heavy stuff with you. I'll put this in the link as well, just for people that really want this. I'll also put the one I suggest in the link, so you can have both options. And last but not the least is what I'm currently filming on, which is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I recently just got this, so it doesn't fall under the mobile photography examples. I plan to use more of the DJI on my future trips, just because it's really small. It's smaller than my phone. It's small, and I just wanted to try something different, especially because I'm shooting for YouTube now. I will let you know how the DJI Osmo fares on my next trip, because right now I've never used it. I don't know how good it is. I don't know what it does, all the little ins and outs, but that's what I'm currently shooting on. So if you like this video, thanks to the DJI Osmo, that's what it's being shot on. Yeah, so that's it for all the gear I use. Third is going to be filming. Now, filming is the most important part of every video and photography you're gonna do. Now, the gear plays a role, your phone settings plays a role, of course, all of that plays a role. But filming is the game changer. So I'm going to break the filming into 3 parts. And we're gonna start the first part with movement. Before I start movement, I'm going to put one important part of every mobile photography and videography. You have to clean your lens. Your lens has to be clean. It's very important. Anybody that has been out with me can tell you that there's probably a high chance I've cleaned my lens using your clothes. But I'm sorry if I've ever done that. I have a lens cleaner, which is an old eyeglass case, but it does the job perfectly that I can't even let it go. So all you have to do is just take it and just rub on the lens just before you shoot. And make sure that there are no smudges and anything on it. Because when there's smudges on your phone, the difference between a smudged video and a well-taken video is like night and day. So you have to make sure that it's smudge-free before you shoot. Now we've gotten that out of the way, let's move on to movements. When it comes to movement, there are different movements you do when you shoot. What I find is most people do the pan movement. So they hold their phone and then they pan from right to left or left to right. It's not bad to pan, but if you're going for the cinematic look, that look when the video just looks like it was, you want to do the forward movement, the backward movement, the top to bottom movement, or the bottom to top forward movement. The minute I started shooting this way, my videos got so much more cinematic, got so much more, fairy tale like. So you should try it. Lighting plays such an important role in photography that people don't speak about as much as they should. I typically don't like shooting in sunlight, so direct sunlight. I really don't like it. I think it makes the videos look really harsh and it doesn't pick up the colors as well. My favorite, of course, is sunset, just because the sun is setting, it's orange, it just hits your skin well, it makes you glow, it makes everything look pretty, it brings out the lighting and the colors of whatever it is you're shooting. It's just the best time to shoot. So if you have to shoot in direct sunlight, what I would advise you to do is get like something flat. I'm gonna use my eyelash case and just go like that over the phone just before you shoot. It makes a difference. I've tried it a couple of times and it does make a difference. But if you can, just avoid shooting in direct sunlight. It's never fun, it's just just to do it. Third under this is the drone looking shots. Now I get asked so many times, oh, how did you take this video if you don't have a drone? What I typically do is I look for a vantage point right above where I'm going to shoot, and if there's somewhere I can sort of set a camera, and then I go there and set a camera. Now if you set a camera with your face tracker, if you're lucky and you're not too high up, it can track. But if you're too high up, then it can't track. So that's where typically asking people for help comes in. Next is asking people for help. Sometimes you need to ask people for help because there's certain movements that you can't make on your own. Your tripods can't do it, your face tracking gimbals can't do it. You have to do it yourself. And you have to ask for help for that. And I like asking for help because there's just some movements that I can't achieve with a tripod. Now, asking for help is tricky because not everybody knows how to shoot videos really well. So what I typically advise is before you ask someone to take a shot of you, you should frame the shot so you can get the person to stand wherever it is you want to stand for the shot, and then do like a sample video of what you want it to look like, or a sample photo of what you want it to look like, and then they get to recreate that. Now, not everybody's going to get it exactly how you want it to be, but they'll get close to it, because I feel like when people have an idea of what you're trying to shoot, then they can shoot it close to what you had an idea of. But if they don't, then they're just going to shoot whatever it is they have in their mind. That's one trick I always advise people. Just show them what you want to be shot, and then before they shoot it. Third under filming is going to be, what story are you trying to tell? Knowing what story you're trying to tell also helps when you're shooting. If you're doing a review, it means when you're shooting for a review, let's say hotel review, you're going to have to shoot from the point where you were offered champagne, to the point where you checked into your room, to the point where you know what the room looks like, what the bathroom looks like, what the pool looks like, what the staff did to help you. You're shooting at like different points of it, but you don't have to have long content. It can just be like shorter clips, and they don't all have to be like the best lighting, because you remember it's a hotel review. Now, if you're trying to talk about an experience, that's going to be shot very differently, because an experience means that you are starting from the start of the experience to the end of the experience, and various things can happen inside the experience. You want to get as much footage when you're shooting an experience as you can, because when you're then telling the story, you need to be able to cut different parts of the experience to make it into a story. On my next video, I will be talking about how I edit. Editing is very important, so I'm going to talk about how I color grade, how I make most of my videos go from looking like this to looking like this. That's one video you also want to look out for. I hope this has been a very helpful video. Do let me know if you have any other questions, and also let me know what other videos you'd like to see. Bye.